Don Vito, how y'all doing? What's good?
What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, Callie.
Okay, we want to welcome our first guest to the show. She's a published author of Heat, Code of the Streets, a book series. She's a mentor, a journalist, a columnist, a writer of photos, radio, multimedia. You know, Sharonda Baker, a.k.a. Mecca Global. What's up, Mecca Global?
What's going on, Harlem? He screamed out my government name, Sharonda Baker,
a.k.a. You legit? You legit?
Yes, I am
you gotta do that. You gotta do that.
He screamed it
You
out.
know, it's all right. When you legit and you official,
yes,
you professional.
Yes, I am.
You gotta put your handle with no problem.
Yes, I am.
You know, but
first of all, shout out to the Beat 139. Thank y'all for welcoming me. Doc, Don Vito, Callie, everybody in here, thank you. Yes. Salute to y'all.
We appreciate you for coming to the show.
I respect y'all time. I respect people's time. So a lot of people need to get on that. Respect people's time.
That's so true, absolutely.
Okay. So tell everybody where you from.
I'm originally from Grafton Avenue Projects, Newark, New Jersey, Brick City. Lived in Atlanta. Grew up in New York City during the 80s and 90s. I'm an East Coast girl all the way. Even when I lived in Atlanta, they was calling me, oh, Miss Anti-Georgia. But this was early 90s. So Jersey, Brick City, all day.
Oh, yeah? Most of your family's in Brick City?
Well, all over Jersey. All over, every part of Jersey. East Orange, everywhere. Everywhere. Jersey.
So what was life growing up in the Brick City?
The same. I was sneaking out the house, coming over here to the city, getting whoopings, getting beatings, real. Can I curse on here?
Something like don't go too crazy.
I won't go to getting real ass whoopings.
Right.
Growing up, it was the same. I mean, from urban areas, it's pretty much the same.
Right.
Growing up in the 80s and 90s, if you know anything about the 80s and 90s, not what you see in the videos, to actually live through the 80s and 90s, that's what it was like. And if you don't know what it was like growing up in the 80s and 90s, do your research from an official era. No disrespect to no other generations, but it's official right here. What's going on, Don Vito?
Everything is good. So so you grew up in Newark, right? Because I'm just checking checking your story out. And so did you have any dreams, any ambitions? I mean, what was your thoughts?
I definitely had dreams and ambition. Growing up, first of all, shout out to my entire family. I definitely come from a lot of people in the family doing their thing. So high school, writing, always been in me. And if you grew up in the 80s, we had teachers like straight from the 70s, off of the Black Panther era, 60s and 70s. So they instilled in us, like they saw potential in us. Am I talking too loud?
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
I'm
Doing
good.
Great.
All right. I mean, writing was always in me. So of course, sneaking out of my house, going to Club Sensations in Jersey, then sneaking over the water to come to the rooftop, Union Square, Roxy, Latin Quarters, and stuff like that. But anyway, just hip hop is in me. So just growing up.
What were some of the schools you attended?
In Jersey, I went to Bergen Street School, Madison, went to West Side High, got kicked out of West Side High, but I was a teenage mother. And let me just stop right there and stop joking, because all the stuff that I tried to hide, like I got kicked out of school, that's the stuff I talk to the girls about. I mentor teenage girls. So all the little stuff that I was trying to hide and brush over, that's what I talk to the girls about.
Right.
So let me just stop joking about that. So I went to West Side, I went to Chestnut, I was pregnant in high school. And in Newark, in Jersey, Brick City, you can't go to a regular school if you're pregnant. So I had to go to Chestnut. So I was a pregnant teen mother.
Right.
And I had my son as a teenager. And I'm very proud of him. So that's the name of my company is S. Baker Media Group. It's a play on words. His name is Shaquan Baker. My name is Sharonda Baker, other than Mecca Global. So when you grow up in urban areas, names like that, that's the reason I named it that, to kind of say, okay, they got a stigma on people from the hoods or whatever. Just flip it and just build the brand around all that. But I could talk y'all ears off, so y'all can stop me whenever y'all want, or just say whatever y'all want, because I could talk. So y'all got to direct it.
I know you mentioned mentors. Did you have any mentors in your life too?
I had a lot of mentors, and I'm thankful that I've been around legends to guide me. Even my big brothers, like I'm the youngest of 10, so I kind of got the cheat codes. Again, going from home, I had older brothers, uncles, even. And I don't mean to glorify this, even drug dealers in our neighborhoods. It was just honor amongst thieves. It was a different code. Even dudes in the streets raised us a certain way. So mentors in my family, my big brothers, my big sisters, and going to school, school was an extension of your family. So they know you, like, ain't you Miss Emma daughter? You Alvin little sister. Or they
Right.
put us in check. So, yeah, I definitely saw a lot of right. So if you ever see me doing wrong, that's on my own. So I always say I got the cheat codes because I'm the youngest, and I saw them, and I snuck out the house. I got enough whoopings and enough beatings to keep me on track. So
And you live and you learn, so
you
know.
do live and you learn. So, I mean,
The cheat code.
I always say the cheat codes because when you look at it, like the youngest of all them, like I seen every era, like from uncles, aunts, brothers, sisters, even schools, like even hanging in the streets. I hung with older dudes. I used to lie about my age. They used to be like, nah, you not that, get out of here. I used to, listen to me, when I used to hang around with certain dudes, that's how I got in all those clubs, because I was hanging around older dudes. And again, I'm not glorifying the streets, but when you're around certain dudes,
Right.
you with them. So you just with them in the clubs, but whatever. I used to sneak in wait, I gotta say this. I used to sneak in the club, right? I always used to be like, yo, my brother is the DJ. He got my car keys, my house keys. I can't get in. We snuck in the club so many times. But anyway.
That's the cheat code.
No, nah, Vito. That's the cheat code. When I say the cheat codes, meaning I've seen enough right to do right.
Right.
I've seen enough wrong to not even want to be like the crackheads we saw growing up. But I always say this too. It's crazy how even during the crack era, it was crackheads used to be like, yo, don't go down the street. They shooting down the street or this or that. You know, even the crackheads and the fiends were still looking out for us. But anyway, y'all could stop me anytime. Y'all could just talk. I'm telling y'all, I'll talk your ears
All right,
off.
so look, so
What's
moving
good? He's
along.
over here in the cut.
Moving along. So what point did you your mindset go to dealing with music and stuff, recording? And
Music.
okay.
As far as when I left Jersey, well, first of all, let me back up. When I used to sneak out of my mother's house and go to Club Sensations in Jersey and seeing all the rappers, and then to sneak back in the house, this was when Hot Tracks was on, and I'm telling my age again. Hot Tracks was on, and I used to see the same rappers that we just saw in the clubs. I used to see them on videos, and then fast forward a little bit, I saw on Ralph McDaniel video. Salute to Ralph McDaniels, because even watching all those TV shows, Teen Summit, BET, all of them shows, 106 in Park, that influenced me for the music. But when I left Jersey and lived in Atlanta, my friend Doc, shout out to Doc. Doc is the one that actually came down there. He recorded a song with me. One of my brothers, one of my street brothers from another, he was dealing with this chick in Atlanta. She already had a deal. He was like, yo, my sister Mecca, right? He put us together, and it was a rap group called Chase. So we got together, and when somebody put you together, there was no chemistry. I don't know her. We didn't grow up together. We don't have no history. I can't say I've been over your house. She been over my house. We don't have no history, so it kind of broke up. So he came down there, recorded a song. He played it for Chaz in Queens. Shout out to Chaz. Rest in peace to Chaz Williams from Black Hand Entertainment. Yeah. Doc played the song for Chaz in the studio. Chaz flew me back up here from Atlanta, and I signed my deal in '98. Doc is the one that got me and I told this story a million times. Doc is the one that got me my record deal, my first record deal with Chaz out in Queens. They flew me back up here.
What year was this?
98. 98, signed my record deal, and you know how the industry is, the distribution deals or whatever. When that fell through, we had the studio right there at our disposal. And one thing I could say about Chaz too, and I brought this purposely just to show y'all. This was back in '98. Oh, I'm gonna be mad if I don't got it. I got my ass cap in place because of Chaz. He made sure all the artists, I don't got it, it's in the car, but I brought it to show y'all. He made sure all the artists had ASCAP, our publishing deals. You know how all these record labels out here trying to jerk niggas or whatever?
Yeah.
He made sure all his artists had ASCAP or CSAC or BMI, your publishing. So, when that didn't work out, I don't even remember what really happened, but everybody just kind of went their separate ways, and I just strayed away. And I turned my rapping into writing. And I was like, let me write. That's when I started writing in my notebook, and I wrote a book. In 2 months, I wrote a book. Y'all have a cold, excuse me. And nothing else. That's it. This coronavirus going around. I got Purex. I mean, I'm sorry, whatever. But what else? I'm bugging. What else you want to know?
No, so
What was the question?
no, so you ain't get to put out an album, anything?
I only did like verses and features, and once that didn't work out, I was actually working at Morgan Stanley, Dean, with a brokerage firm when I was living in Queens. After he flew me back up here, I was living in Queens, working at walking through the World Trade Center to get to Morgan Stanley, and that's when I was saving my little money, and I wrote my little books. And then I was like, let me publish these books. And then I started sending them to book publishing companies, and they were rejecting them. So 9 out of all of those companies wanted to write me back and say, yeah, we want to publish your book. But by that time, my brother Alvin was like, why don't you get your own money, publish your own book? And I was like, I don't know nothing about publishing books. So I said, okay, you know what? And I published my first book. I sold them out my trunk. And shout out to everybody who I watched growing up, because I watched dudes like Master P, Baby, the old Baby, Slim and them, Dame Dash, the old Dame, Russell Simmons, all these dudes, I watched them. And people don't give Master P enough props. Master P, Baby, and Slim and them, I watched them. I sold my books out my trunk, part 1, part 2, and part 3 before I got them online and in stores. So, I mean, just regular hand-to-hand. So, I mean.
So can you tell us more about your media group?
S. Baker Media Group, that's my company. It's actually, I have a TV show for the past 10 years, come on Channel 19 out in Newark, New Jersey. S. Baker Media Group, my publishing company, I published my first 3 books, S. Baker Publishing, my first 3 books, before I got to the 4th one, before I even linked up with Wahida for my 4th book. My radio show, I was a personality at, let me back up. Shout out to DJ Qua. That's where I got my radio start in Jersey. He actually let me come on his radio show, and that's where I created Mecca Global Streets Report. So I used to be on his radio show for 15 minutes, like, thank you for tuning into SB, whatever, doing the entertainment news. So that was my door, that was my entry to radio. And after doing his little segment for 3 days straight, a different radio show in Jersey called me and was like, we want you to be one of the executive producers with Shades of Hip Hop. And that didn't go through, because my thing is paperwork. When people say they want to do stuff with me, I need to see it in writing. The same thing, because I'm from that era. You tell me something, okay, let's put it in paper. So if it don't fall through, then we'll see what it is. You could talk all you want to talk. Put it in writing. But anyway, and also photojournalist. I've been a photojournalist for the past 13 years. My podcast for the last 3 years. So S. Baker Media Group is actually my company, my media company.
So what your podcast consist of?
Everything, artists. My last interviews, I'm coming back in March. My last interview was with DJ Cool V. That's like family, the legend, and Professor Daddio. Shout out to Professor Daddio from Stetsasonic. Just doing interviews, regular interviews, and
Also something like this.
Yeah, same thing like this, and entertainment news. And I switch it up from time to time, because this is what I have a problem with. If I'm reaching out to artists telling y'all I want to interview you on my radio show, I think some of these artists got it twisted. Like, if you have a video and I have a TV show, your main objective is to get your video on my show. I'm reaching out to artists. They acting like they done sold 1 million units. Once I feel like I'm chasing artists, and this is no disrespect to nobody.
I agree.
But once I feel like I'm chasing somebody, I'm like, I ain't getting in this business for that, number one. So that's when I switch it back up and start doing my entertainment news, because I've been on my grind, so I built this brand, so I can go in and out when I feel like it. Like, I can go in and out when I feel like it.
So what day is your podcast on?
Whenever I want to. Saturdays.
Oh,
really.
it's not
It's
Saturday.
Saturdays.
She said whenever she
I
wants
want to. Saturdays, though.
That's a
really.
little rough, though.
Saturdays.
I might want to see you, Global, and I'm like, yo.
Saturdays.
Yo, Doc, she
okay.
came on Sunday. Hold on. Sunday, I don't see it.
Saturdays.
Yo, V, you missed it. It was on Wednesday. How we gonna find it, yo?
Saturdays at 1 p.m.
I ain't never heard
I'm
nothing like that.
on whenever I feel like
That's all
it.
right, though.
When they say you're a blogger, I'm a blogger whenever I feel like it. I have my
see,
blog since
so
2008.
See, I tell people it's the difference between podcasts and bloggers.
It's
Blogging is more
That's-
as it go, and
Yeah.
more like people do.
Well, I have all of them. The blog for 10 years, since 2008. My podcast for 3 years. My radio show now is going on 6 years. But combined, my TV show for the past 11 years is different facets of media. And what y'all doing right now, this right here also, like, this is podcasting, but you can radio also.
Thing.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it's all good.
Absolutely.
Rough over his own mom. He said, whenever I feel like.
So Sharonda, I know you wrote.
Sharonda, y'all sound like my mother in here.
What you want to be called?
Mecca.
Mecca.
When my mother called me Sharonda, it felt like I'm in trouble.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Mecca. So I know you wrote 3 books, right?
Yes. Well,
what
9, but 3 is the ones I self-published, and the 4th one is when I linked up with Wahida.
Okay. So as far as the 3, can you give us a little details on it, and can you tell us what's your favorite messages?
My favorite message in it, first of all, is Heat, Code of the Streets. It's based on like just regular drama, love, friendship, loyalty, morals. The thing I like about writing and why I love writing over everything that I do, writing is for me. If I'm doing the videos, I'm playing a video for an artist, or I'm interviewing you, doing music. I said this before too. Writing is I'm sitting there putting my thoughts to it. But anyway, the messages that I like in my writing is you always have to show both sides. Okay, y'all want to hang around with drug dealers? Hang around with drug dealers. You might be sitting in the car with him. Somebody might ride up and be looking for him and blow his head off. You in the car with him. You getting it. Like, do you understand what I mean? So you have to have a moral. You have to have both sides, a balance. If you're going to talk about the street gang, or if you want to talk about, you have to show the consequences of both sides.
Right.
So I just like the fact that I can take people on a journey with me. I could get you hyped, because people was emailing me like, yo, when is part 2 coming out? They invested in the
So, let me ask you
characters.
a question.
Yes.
So, where do you get these stories from?
Just regular, like, all right, let me tell you this. If you was my man and me and you broke up, and you broke my heart, or I broke your heart, it's about the experience. I can't write about you, and you can't write about me. You don't have a right to tell my story. I don't have a right to tell your story. From where I'm from, that's called snitching and dry snitching, so we don't do that. But you can write about your life story. If we were to rob a bank,
Self-experience.
exactly. If we were to rob a bank, you still don't have a right to say
So your
Mecca
stuff
was
is
with me.
self-experience.
It's no. It's just, well, yes and no. It's things
Well,
that you
some
go
of it, right.
through. When you're a writer, you're just writing. You have a creative mind. Like, I can write about right now, we all sitting in this room, everybody waiting patiently for the next artist to come up, or the next, you know what I mean? It's just, you just stepping outside of yourself and just sitting there for a moment, just creating whatever.
Right, okay.
And I write hooks, and I write songs, and I write video treatments. And that's how I flipped when the record deal fell through. I flipped my art, my talent into writing. So I also write video treatments, write hooks, write songs, write music. When you're a writer,
That's money,
that's
yeah.
my
That's
talent.
money, that's money, yeah.
Right.
That's personal.
Yes,
That's why I said
definitely.
it's personal. Everything else, that's the one thing I really love about everything that I do, writing. Because it's mine.
It's a stress reliever, too.
It really is
When you
therapeutic.
take it off your head and put it on
It
paper.
really is. Because you got to get it out your mind. 'Cause
So you was writing for K. Slay, right?
I write for his magazine for 10
right?
years.
Yeah, how was that
Straight to
experience?
him is wonderful. And I write for, he just dropped a new one, What's the Science? Y'all can check out my new column and the new issue, What's the Science, on the opioid epidemic. I'm writing about that, everybody overdosing and what's going on with this. And the pharmacy is the biggest drug dealers, painkillers, the prescriptions, and the opioid epidemic. Like, oh, now it's an epidemic. What happened when the crack era was out? That wasn't an epidemic? Hello, is this thing on? All right.
So I see you got your,
I'm just saying.
doing a lot of,
Shout out to DJ
you got a
K
lot of
Slay.
links. Your stuff is all over the place, huh?
A little bit.
Apple iTunes, everywhere. You doing your homework. You working.
Well, you have
I'm
time
trying.
for all this.
When I started doing this in '98, people gotta grind. Like, y'all just seeing this now. when I used to go to the little showcases or go here and there, people who say they rappers, singers, models, I used to be like, come on, come with me. They didn't want to go. So now, I mean, I remember times I went places where I was broke, where I had like $5 in my pocket or $20 in my pocket or $100 in my pocket, but I still went, jumping on the train, going to the events, like the open mics or wherever, just going. I mean, you just got to put in the work. Y'all just seeing me now. This started back then. It's now coming full circle. This is 2020. This started in 98. So now people just now seeing it. And shout out to DJ K Slay. I called him when I used to work for a different magazine. I was writing music reviews. And I said, I'm going to write for that straight stunting. I was in Doc's studio in Queens recording my TV show because I didn't have, this was before they gave me access to the TV show. So, and again, that's the thing. I'll get the situation, but I don't know what to do with it. So I would call up people and be like, Doc, I need to record my TV show in your studio. He like, come to Queens. And he set up everything. And right in the studio, I was like, straight stunting. And I reached out to K Slay, and that's another thing with me. I will reach out to the person. I don't need nobody to go third party. I found his number and I was like, Slay, let me write for your magazine. And then he called me back a year later though. And my first column I sent to him, he sent it back and was like, why your column in all capital? And then I was like, oh. Then I straightened it out and sent it back to him. That was the first time. And after that, I had it right ever since. And I've been writing for his magazine for 10 years. And now his new one just dropped, What's the Science? So make sure y'all go pick up that and read my new column on the opioid epidemic and his What's the Science. So
you do wear a lot of hats.
I'm trying. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying. This is what we supposed to be doing. This is our culture. So, hello. Yeah, I always say that.
In life right now, you got to have at least 5 or 7 streams.
You got to have more than that.
In order to be comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Especially when you come from nothing. Like, and my mother hate when I say that. She said, y'all always sound like we was poor. I said, well, we was in the projects, but we wasn't poor. But she hate when we say that because.
But, to be honest, I kind of disagree with that.
What?
Like what he said, talk about, you have to do like 7 different things. You don't want to be caught up to be a jack of all trades and master of none. Right. You see that anybody could do a lot of things.
But the difference is
it had to be steps where it's.
But when I'm saying streams of income, means you got 7 jobs like on Living Color. That's not what I'm talking about.
I know what you're saying.
People, you got people home. Money checks just coming in from just being online.
And you know what?
You know what I'm saying?
And I just learned
you got
all
right now today's society. You got to have at least 5 streams of income to be considered wealthy or doing very well.
That's not always true.
Right,
you can have 2 incomes and be wealthy if those 2 opportunities is gold.
Right.
You saying 7? It could be 7 done.
Right. I'm saying though.
Right.
So here's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that teach his own.
Hello.
It's not each his own. It's not.
Because I know what we're talking about.
Because if you're putting time in something, right? We're gonna go to the caller.
He's telling the truth though. Look.
Hello, caller want to talk to you. Caller, you here with
What's
Mecca?
going on?
Calling my name. I'm Killer Auntie. I'm Miss Killer from New Orleans, baby. We trying to find out what time Killer coming on the air.
He's coming on after she finished her interview.
Right now, it's about Mecca right now.
You know, like leave a message. You know,
hold on. What you said?
Oh, I didn't know people could call.
What number we call to leave it? Like they're showing on what that is live. How we get on it live?
What's the number?
Yeah, go to YouTube. Go to the Beat 139. Go to YouTube and subscribe and hit the like button. I mean, hit the bell. When you hit the bell, when he come up, the notifications will come up.
You just said it was like a pause here.
But my daughter she got to figure it out. We about to get on now. But we watching though. We watch. Oh yeah, we just wanted to know what time Killer was coming on.
Go to YouTube and you watching Mecca right now.
Mecca Global.
Yeah, we watching Mecca.
Hey,
I'm watching that for you.
All right, so as soon as she finishes, he's coming up next.
All right, baby. Thank you. Love y'all.
All right, Wardy.
Yes, love you too.
All right, Wardy.
Shout out to New Orleans. I got love for y'all.
What Doc and Vito was saying.
But yeah, let me just.
It depends. Excuse me one second, man. It depends on the person or how much a person can handle. So I mean, some people can handle 5 jobs, some people can handle 2. And I feel like if you're gonna do that 5, you have to put your all into that 5. But if you're gonna do that 2, then put your all into that 2. I mean, it depends on the person. So I mean, it's really like no set, okay, let me do 5 or let me do 2. I'm going to be successful. It just depends on the person and how much energy you feel or choose that you're going to put into it.
And when I put my mind to it back then in 98, I set out to do this. So what he's saying is correct. You got to have multiple streams. But what he's saying also is correct because, look, when people say they're doing 50 things, examine each 51 of them. My TV show been rocking 10 years going on 11. The radio show, the podcast, the books, the writing, the photojournalists. Go down the list. If everybody talking about I'm balling, tell them to show you something. Like you supposed to be able to see it. Like, you know what I mean? The magazine, writing for the magazine. That's what I mean. Where's the fruit? You doing all this, but anyway,
I heard that the fruit for the labor. I heard that, Mecca.
Y'all too. I mean, I'm just now. I'm here.
Can you tell us a little bit about your radio show?
Sure. It's just like this. You could just interview artists, or I interview artists, or I do my entertainment news report. Like I said, I'm not chasing artists. And once I feel like I reach out to you, because I like music. I like hip hop. And if I like your music, I'm like, yo, come on, come to my radio show. I'm promoting you, like whatever. If I feel like I'm chasing artists, I don't.
That's what I think the mistake people make. They don't realize
this is a platform.
It's a platform. Like
I'm like, okay,
it's not hurting you.
It's really
I agree with that too, though.
If you can't do it, just say you can't do it.
Right. I don't play those games, so I'll reach out to you, especially if I like your music. Oh, I'm in Harlem. Shout out to Shooter, Fact Rap Shooter. Shout out to A Mafia. Shout out to Born. My bad. Pardon me. I'm in Harlem. What up, Harlem? But anyway, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I got.
Do your thing. You rock it.
Go ahead.
What up, Harlem?
You know?
Go ahead.
What's up?
What's going on, y'all?
Mecca, tell us a little bit. What's the difference between your podcast and your radio show, you would say?
It's actually the podcast. The reason why I really like the podcast, because going back to even when I was teasing you, when I said I could do it whenever I want to, like if I'm on a flight or if I'm anywhere, I can actually go on my podcast. I can like broadcast from my laptop, and I could just do my entertainment news, or if I feel like it, or if you sitting on a flight with me, I could interview you right on the flight. So. It can move around with me. The radio show, and which I will be coming back to, is The Voice of the Underdogs. It's Saturdays at 1 p.m. It's out in Jersey. Shout out to 8 Squad. So it's definitely a difference in studio for the radio.
Right.
Podcast, I could pick it up and go with me.
Right.
Like I like to move around.
Right, so move, right.
I like that.
So let me ask you,
Yes.
what's your social media link so people can check you out?
At Mecca Global. MECCAGLOBAL. Mecca Global. Everything across the board. Snapchat Mecca Global, Twitter Mecca Global, Periscope Mecca Global, Instagram Mecca Global, YouTube Mecca Global, Cash App Mecca Global, WhatsApp Mecca Global, Telegram Mecca Global,
I like that right
YouTube
there.
Mecca Global,
That's 20 joints.
Facebook Mecca Global. I mean, what is Mecca Global?
Everything's Mecca.
Mecca Global.
So
and
Mecca.
people didn't understand
That's
that
working.
from back in
That's
MySpace
working.
days. MySpace days. MySpace. Remember MySpace, y'all?
Oh, absolutely. I got a few artists off of MySpace. but she got to catch a flight, y'all. I know y'all don't want to see her go and all that. The interview is good, but we appreciate you. Coming all the way from Boston.
Definitely.
Boston.
I mean,
He
somewhere
said
you
Boston. I ain't messing with him. Get out my face.
From Jersey or
From
Newark. We got somebody
he
from
acting
Boston.
like
I
it's
forgot.
right over the water. He acting like
We beef about Newark. You're right. My bad.
That's right.
But listen, she got a flight to catch,
I
y'all.
do.
So y'all want to say something too?
Yeah,
Mecca, is there anything else that you want to mention to the audience that we haven't spoken about?
Mentorship. Make sure y'all mentor these youth, because everybody keeps saying, I was about to say a lot of them are lost, but they said that about us. But we still listen. Don't stop mentoring, because somebody's listening. And the thing that I was going back to when I was joking about the school, the things that I tried to hide, those are the things that I really talk to girls about. And y'all fathers, y'all don't realize how much y'all are needed in these young girls' lives. If I could tell y'all some of the stories they tell us, it'll break your heart. It's breaking my heart just thinking about some of the stories they tell us. So fathers, stay in your daughters' lives.
Definitely.
And I just had a conversation with one. I'm about to get emotional on this one. She just told me, Father, stay in y'all little girls' lives, because they need y'all. And definitely just mentor. I mean, shout out to the mentor program I'm affiliated with. I need to get affiliated with more mentorship, because that's what I really love out of everything.
Great.
I'm definitely needed to be in some more mentoring. So y'all get at me however y'all want to.
Mecca, can you please tell them your favorite podcast and what podcast you on today?
Here she go. The Beat 139 with Doc.
Don't go nowhere. We got Mr. 504 next.
Brick City.
We got Mr. 504 next.
Brick City.
Shout out somebody.
We got
more
the
time, give it to
504
him.
next. Don't go nowhere. He's coming up next.
And
504,
I need
New
to-
Orleans.
I need to shout out Doc. Definitely shout out Supreme, my big brother in the building with me. Shout out to K Slay. Shout out to Malik. He's been editing my TV show for the past 10 years. Shout out to everybody who support me from day one. I love y'all. Just follow me on Instagram, everything. Mecca Global.
Definitely. We're going to take
Mecca
a
Global.
quick
Thank you,
break,
Mecca.
people.
Thank you.
So we're going
right
to be
back.
off air. We're going to be off air for a couple minutes.
Be right back.
When we come back, we got
Thank
Mr.
you.
504 New Orleans in the building.
Thank
I
Next.
got to take a picture with her, and then
Come
I
on,
guess you
y'all.
gotta do a post interview.
Mentor, push the mentor.
Huh?
Call that caller back.
They've been online going